So just gonna test my audio stream here quickly. Yeah, looks good. So yeah, good morning everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you guys are joining in today. This is Q&A slash office hours slash questions. So if you have any questions, you can use this opportunity to ask your question live, and I'll try my best to answer those questions. So yeah, so without wasting any further time, let's begin the Q&A slash office hours. Yeah. And by the way, Happy New Year, because Happy Diwali and Happy New Year to everybody, right? So let's begin the Q&A for the day. So hopefully you guys should be able to see my live stream. Not sure if that's working. I guess probably. All right. If you guys can hear me properly, let me know in the comment window, and let's begin the Q&A. So you can use the chat window and ask your questions there, and I'll try my best to answer them live on this live feed. All right, we have Pradeep. Hi, Pradeep. Good to see you, Pradeep. So yeah, any questions, anything that you would want to ask, please go ahead and you may post your question in the comment window down below. So yeah, in the meanwhile, some couple of updates. I guess Apache Hudi 1.0.0 beta version has been announced. Lot of amazing features there, including something called functional index that you should probably check it out. It's pretty cool though. Another update on the data side would be one table. So what is one table is basically, you have all these table formats, right? Apache Hudi, Delta Lake, Iceberg, all these different formats, right? So one table is sort of a abstraction on the top of all of these three, right? So it allows you to convert your Hudi into Delta, Delta into Hudi, vice versa. So your underlying data or the base file remains the same. That does not change. So what one table does, it basically translates the metadata of your lakes, right? So that's what it does. So that's an announcement as well. The next announcement that I have is AWS Glue Crawler now supports column stats, meaning you can get all the stats about particular column. They have just announced this I guess yesterday, and I posted that in the LinkedIn as well. So that's that. So these are the three announcements that I have. Other than that, if you have any questions or anything that you want to talk about, please use the chat window, and I'll love to have conversation with you. So I'm gonna be here for a couple of minutes, and if you have questions, please go ahead and use the chat window and ask your questions if you have any. So yeah, these are the three updates that I have for you, and now we'll begin taking questions if we have any in the chat window. So far, no questions. We have one from Pradeep. He just says, hey. So let me adjust the chat window. Hopefully you guys can see now. I don't want to touch the live stream because probably it will. There you go. This should probably work. All right. So yeah, any questions that you have, please go ahead and use the chat window. We have one question from Pradeep, but it's not been able to see on the screen. So let me try to fix this a little bit. So let me scroll. Hold on. I think I gotta. Yeah, whenever I get a new laptop, it's always a pain to like set up all these software again back. So let me see if I can drag this, and then probably I'll take the question. So if I click on the comment, I select the window over here. For some reason, it doesn't allow me to do. Hold on. I'm gonna try one last time. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, it's fine. I mean, it looks like during the live stream, it doesn't allow me to probably crop that. But anyway, I'll just read out the question loud. That's all right. So let me make this a little bigger. Okay. So we have a question from Pradeep. Do you know about SST Dev? No, I do not know about the SST dev, but I'll probably look into that for sure. If you would like to tell us a little bit more about what is SST dev, I haven't heard about it. Probably I'll Google it up after the live stream for sure. So probably. All right. Any other questions that you guys may have, please use the chat window and go ahead, post your question in the chat window. Happy to talk, discuss, chat, debate about those stuff. So I'm gonna be here for a couple of minutes. So until you have any questions, please go ahead, use the chat window. I used to do live Q&A often every week, but now with all the workload and all the other things going on, I don't get that much enough time. But still trying to keep up on the YouTube as well. Yeah. So, I mean, if you have questions, you may post it. If you don't have any questions, meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'll probably talk how I basically use my time wisely. So what you want to do is you want to use the so you want to divide the 24 hours into 3 equal components, like let's say 8, 8, 8, right? So 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of hard work, that is your 9 to 5. And then the remaining 8 hours, divide that into couple of like 3, 2, and so on, and then use that time window for like learning opportunities, right? So I would say, because it becomes really hard to like do YouTube, blogs, your 9 to 5, learning, family, cooking, all the other responsibilities just other than the work. It gets challenging, right? And at the same time, I mean, we also have to keep learning, right? If we don't learn, we're gonna be outdated pretty soon, right? So I try at least to Saturday or at least Sunday to devote some time in the morning for learning new things. So that's how I've been able to keep up with new things that are coming out, right? Trying to read stuff before you go to bed, just go scrolling blogs or scrolling articles, usually, So I would say have like fixed days. For example, like for me, what works is like Saturday morning from 9 to 11 is when I try to learn something new. At least I'll go over blogs, I'll see what repositories or what new projects are going on, etc. So that's something have been working for me. So hopefully you can also do the same. Meanwhile, let's see if we do have some questions. We have a question from Moo Layer, says, data migrations to data lake best practice. Sure, I would love to talk about that. Let me see. I wish I can make these comments a little bigger. It's a little tiny, I know. I wish I can. Let me see if I can make this so. Otherwise, it's a little hard to see. Probably. Is this visible? Probably. Hopefully. I really need to fix this chat. Live stream window. For some reason it doesn't allow me to do like change stuff, but yeah, I can't really change it. It's okay. I'll read those questions out. All right. So Muller says data migration to the data lake best practices. So I would like to say a couple of things there. So either you can use I mean, I'm assuming if you're on AWS, I would say DMS would be a great choice, which will bring a bunch of tables into S3. And then from there, you can either use Glue or Flink or EMR to read data from the raw zone and build your Medallion architecture. But also DMS comes at a cost component. So if you only want like 3-4 tables, what I would do is like, I would rather have some sort of a template, which I already have. You can read the CDC events based on a timestamp attribute. So anytime any record is updated, right, you can say, give me everything greater than this particular timestamp. Next time when it runs, you will say, okay, give me everything from the last process timestamp. So that way you can read data from your source table, right? So two approaches, right? Query-based CDC and log-based CDC. In query-based CDC, you are gonna use some sort of a query to poke the database at an interval. That interval could be probably 5 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day. That's more a batch-oriented pipeline. In log-based CDC, what happens is you have a tool like either Debezium or DMS that's gonna listen to those events, any insert, any updates, any deletes that are happening on your database. They will bring that into your S3 or raw zone. Now from there, again, as I said, right, standard approach, you're going to use Spark or Flink, right? Either it's a batch oriented pipeline or stream oriented pipeline. If it's a stream oriented pipeline, you can directly read those streaming events and then build your silver or gold, whatever needed, right? So in terms of best practices, number one, identify what's your use case. Hey, do I need a log based CDC or do I need a query based CDC? Then once you have that answer, then basically ask the next question. Okay, does my pipeline need to be real time, or am I okay having the SLAs? Meaning, is it okay to have a more batch oriented pipeline? Because in terms of cost, if a company says, hey, we have to be like, we got to think about the cost and everything. So then I would probably say, okay, well, let's go for query based CDC, right? I'll probably poke the database at an interval of, let's say, A, B, C, D, and then bring the data there. So identify log or query based CDC. Second, identify, okay, do you need a streaming pipeline, or do you need a batch oriented pipeline? And then based on that, pick the appropriate component or the stack, right? So that's what I would say. We have Karthik here, says your opinion on Snowflake. Honestly, I have heard a lot, Karthik, on Snowflake, but personally I haven't really worked or tried Snowflake. So I wouldn't be able to comment anything further, Karthik, on Snowflake as of right now. Then we have Moolayer says, I am from Azure. Oh, that's great, man. Great to have you over here, man. Yeah, so any other questions that I can answer today, please use the chat window and post your question in the comment window, and I'll try my best to answer them possible, By the way, one news that I've been hearing, I don't know if you guys know, but did you hear that OpenAI, I mean, I don't know what's the exact news, but OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman, he got fired. I don't know if he got fired or did he resign from the board, but that's a big news that's probably going around, on that. So yeah, and now there are like memes going on like, okay, is Sam Altman gonna be coming back as Steve Jobs, gonna come back stronger? Nobody knows that, but it's unfortunate, right? When you see like so many cases like this. Apple CEO Tim Cook, he was fired from his own company that he probably made. Then of course Sam Altman. Then if you talk about India, Ashneet Grover, founder of BharatPe, right? That same incident happened there as well. So yeah, I mean, sad, but yeah. All right, we have a question from Karthik, says, thank you. With respect to cost, Glue or EMR would be better. Oh, that's great, man. So if you have a lot of Spark jobs in your company, right, Karthik, like for example, let's say probably you have like 40, 50, 60 jobs, Spark jobs. I think Glue cost will keep adding up rather I would say than use EMR, right? Because why? Because you would have a fixed cost instance, a compute instance is created, and now you can either you submit 20, 60, 100 or 200. The cost is gonna remain the same because you're gonna pay a fixed price for the compute, right? Glue is like serverless, so you don't have to manage, right? So you pay as you go. But in terms of like, again, as I said, right, they both serve the same purposes. EMR would be used probably for like big data processing when the data goes above like few terabytes. I think EMR is usually preferred, but smaller, medium workloads, Glue is also a good alternative. Again, I do not really have a clear answer like which one to use. It would totally depend from use case to use case. Glue has a lot of like out of the box functionality, connectors and stuff, which makes it easy to do ETL work, right? If you have more complex workload, then you can probably go for EMR. So that's where I would like to conclude the answer. Okay. Okay, we have a question from Pradeep and says, how to get hired as a fresher, full stack developer? Pradeep, this is a great question. Honestly, I still remember my first job. I'll tell you honestly, man. Listen, I applied for 700 jobs to get my first internship in the US. I was equally qualified. I knew my skills, but finding the first job is always very difficult, my friend. Like, it's never been easy. What I would like to give you an advice is not to give up and keep learning and keep applying. That's something that I can say. I know right now the job market is hard. considering all the recession and layoff, etc. But hopefully things are gonna pick up. But all I could say is just keep applying until you find it, and then at the same time work on your skills as well. Make sure your GitHub profile is up to date. Add more projects on your GitHub, right? Make your portfolio website, where people can search you up, right? Then keep your LinkedIn up to date. Add recruiters on LinkedIn. Another thing that I have learned, it's sort of like a hack, is so on LinkedIn, so LinkedIn has an algorithm where so for a recruiter, when they search for job seeker, right? You are a job seeker, right? So what you want to do is you want to go to LinkedIn and you want to go to your last name, remove your last name, then add like a dot and then save on it. Why you want to do that? Because that will basically update your profile, and it will update your profile in the LinkedIn's cache. Okay, now what I'm saying, hold on. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is, let's say there are two people, A and B, right? Both person A and B, they created a profile, let's say let's say 2 months back, right? Now person A, let's say, added a skill or something, right? So the last updated date would be more recent. So now if you compute the delta, meaning if I'm searching something, I'm gonna say from today's date to that particular delta from when you updated your date. So the delta, let's say, is 10 days. For the other person is 60 days. So more the delta, less points is gonna get. So meaning when a recruiter is searching, the recruiter is more likely wanna search a most recent profile than an older profile. So this is something, a hack that I have learned and observed. So go to your LinkedIn, every night if you are looking for jobs, edit your name, add a dot or a full stop, and then save it. So that way your profile last updated would be updated, and it will bring you up in the search hierarchy when recruiters are searching. So that's something I can say. So in general, Pradeep, I would say number one, update your LinkedIn, keep it up to date. Number two, GitHub profile. Number three, portfolio website, and keep applying, bro. That's it. That's all I'll say. Pradeep says, thank you for the advice. Anytime. And if you have any other questions, please go ahead and use the chat window. All right. So any other questions? Again, please use the chat window. It doesn't have to be on software. I mean, it can be anything in general, like, hey, how do I do this? Or hey, how do I do that? Right? Anything in general, please go ahead, and always happy to talk about it. Oops. So yeah, use this technique on LinkedIn, Pradeep. I'm pretty sure it will help you out, man, for sure. And again, first job is always hard, Pradeep. I still remember my first internship, how many jobs I applied to get that even role. But once you get your first job, and after that, usually things are a little easier, is what I would say. And also try to attend like conferences, try to meet new people, try to network as much as you can, and don't give up, my friend. Never ever give up is all I would say. All right, any other questions that you guys want to ask? Please use the chat window, and I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Also, regarding the pay stuff, right? Like, I want to say, like, let me give you a very nice, if you don't have any question, let me share a very nice story with you, probably like a short one, which will probably motivate you, right? So once upon a time, there was a father. Father had an old watch laying around, which was probably like 20 to 30-year-old watch, And then the son, so he told his son, okay, son, go take this watch and go to like a gold shop or whatever, and go and ask them what are they willing to pay you for this watch. Okay. So the son took the watch, the old watch that the father gave, and he went inside and said, hey, I want to sell the watch. How much are you gonna give me? So the owner said, it's an old watch, probably will give you $100. Okay. So the son comes back to the father and says, Dad, they said they'll only pay me $100. He's like, okay. Now what he said is, now he said to his son, okay, now go to the pawn shop and ask how much are they willing to give you. So the son said, okay, let me take the watch, go to the pawn shop. He went to the pawn shop and he said, okay, I'm here to sell the watch. How much are you gonna pay me? He said, it's a very old watch, probably like $50 or something. Son came back to the father and said, hey, Dad, they just told me $50, right? Now father says, now take the same watch and go to the museum and ask them how much are they willing to give you for the watch. So the son said, okay, let me go to the museum. He went to the museum and said, okay, I'm here to sell the watch. How much are you gonna pay me? So they said, wow, this is an old limited edition watch. We can put this in our collection for visitors who are coming to the museum. We're gonna pay you probably like $200,000. The son came to the father and said, Dad, they are giving me $200,000. So what changed here? Interesting, right? It's the same watch, right? But the place was changing, right? So if you are at a place where you're not probably being valued, it's not you. It's probably the place. You just gotta be at the right place. That's exactly what I wanted to explain you. So I hope that will motivate you. But yeah, and if you have any other questions, please go ahead and ask your questions. And again, as I keep saying, right, my channel is not just about like, yeah, I mean, AWS and this and that. I mean, you can ask me other general questions also. I'm at the end, I'm a human being behind the screen, right? I'm not a robot, right? I have been through the same struggle as you guys have been through, and I guess probably I've been struggling more probably right now. But again, I can relate the situations. Is all I'm trying to say. If you ask me questions, I'll honestly answer you. Okay, this is what happened. This is how it's gonna work. So yeah, any other questions? Always happy to answer. Please go ahead, use the chat window, and ask your questions if you have any. And meanwhile, I'll enjoy my cup of tea. And if you have questions, I'll probably read from the chat window and try my best to answer them. We have questions from Karthik. How relevant, how prevalent is airflow? So you're saying how important is airflow? I mean, depends from company to company, right? Some company will use it as an orchestrating tool for their, Spark jobs. Other companies would probably use something custom built. For example, we build our orchestrating tool through EventBridge, and we hold the metadata in DynamoDB. So it all depends from company to company and stack to stack. Like there's no like a set answer like how relevant is airflow. Like, yeah, it is important. A lot of companies are using it for orchestrating their Spark jobs or in general any particular jobs. The beauty of airflow is like, it comes with a lot of built-in functionality, right? You can job metadata, right? You can see when the job started, when the job ended, what is the status of the job, right? All those metadata, it comes with that, right? You can schedule DAGs, you can fire DAGs. DAG is basically job, so you can schedule DAGs, you can fire a job when you want through REST APIs, and you can also see the graph. I guess the job graph, right? Overall, right? I mean, yeah, it's great, but again, as I said, right, it would totally depend from company to stack, right? So yeah, it's good to know a little bit, like an overview. But yeah, in my company, we are not using Airflow. We use a custom scheduler as service like EventBridge to schedule items, and the metadata is stored in DynamoDB, all that. So yeah, I hope Karthik that does answer your questions. And if you have any other questions, use the chat window, and I'm happy to talk about it. Any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Use the chat window, and just ask your questions if you have any. Any other questions that you guys want to talk about? I'm probably going to be here for 15-20 more minutes. Try to answer some more questions, try to connect to some more people over here on the live chat. And it's always fun to meet people, to know different things, right? You always learn a lot from other people. And I always consider also myself as a student. I still say, oh yeah, I'm learning. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning. You can never become an expert in this domain. There's so many things happening every single day. The tech is changing, right? Something new is coming, something new every single day. So you can never become like, you can call yourself an expert, but yeah, to me, I probably say I'm a student. I'm learning, and I just love the process of learning in general, right? So All right. Any other questions that I can answer? Please let me know. If you are still there, Karthik, not sure if you are, but where are you from, Karthik? Just out of curiosity. And meanwhile, if you have any other questions, you can use the chat window and ask your questions. And by the way, thank you so much for all the love and support. The channel just crossed, I guess, 37,000 subscribers. So thank you everybody for all the love. Karthik says, Shubham Yadav is here. Says, where do you work? Shubham, I work in a company called Job Target LLC. It's a company based in Stamford, Connecticut. So I hope that answers. Any other questions that you guys may have, please feel free, use the chat window. Always happy to talk, discuss, debate about anything in general. Oh, Karthik is from Bangalore. Oh, that's nice. Great, Karthik. Great to connect to you. Yeah, that's great. Let me know if you let's probably also connect on LinkedIn, and if you can probably send me your LinkedIn URL, would love to connect with you as well. You know. We have Shubham Yadav says, I watch your DynamoDB tutorials. Thank you, Shubham. I hope you liked and I hope you learned something on that DynamoDB. So thank you very much, Shubham. Karthik says, let me just my font size. Used your channel a great deal to understand all the moving parts of AWS data stack. Big fan. Thanks, man. Thank you, Karthik. I really appreciate your positive feedback, man. Yeah, I'm glad that it helped you. So thank you so much, Karthik. Yeah, if you have any other questions, please go ahead and ask your questions in the comment window, and I am very happy to talk and debate about that. Shubham says your native place. I'm from Mumbai, man. Yeah, Mumbai, Matunga. I mean, if you have heard about probably Ruya College, Podar College, or very most popular engineering college, VJTI. So I live pretty close to that area. King Circle. So Dadar King Circle. So hopefully that helps. Any other questions that you guys have? Please go ahead. Use the chat window. Excuse me. Shubham says, can you make a tutorial on temporal? I don't even know what that is. Temporal, probably I have to Google a little bit. Yeah, I'll look into it, what temporal is, because I have not heard about that. But yeah, let me look it up on Google later on after the live feed, and probably if I find it something interesting, I'll definitely make some video on temporal. Not sure what that is. If you could tell us a little bit on the chat, Shubham, what temporal is? Is that let me see, what is that? Let me see. Oops, let me bring this here. Let me see, Google. So workflow management. Oh, it's a workflow management. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah. Is it like what you call Airflow's thing, like orchestrating stuff, right? I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. Temporal work. Oh, this one. Okay. All right. Code for more reliable system. Temporal is an open source programming model that can simplify your code, makes your application more reliable, and help you to deliver more features faster. Okay, interesting. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll look into it for sure, man. Thanks. Something new I learned. All right, as usual. So thanks, man. Any other questions? Anything else that you guys want to talk? Feel free, man. Use the chat window. I'll probably there for 15 more minutes and then probably I'll head off. But yeah, if you have any other questions that you wanna probably ask, go ahead and use the chat window and post your question in the comment window. Happy to talk about it. Shubham says like queuing system. Okay, that's great. Yeah, definitely. I'll read more about this for sure after the live stream, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. Any other questions that you guys have? Anything that else that I can answer? Please go ahead and use the chat window. I am using Azure. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I haven't used Azure. I mostly use AWS for all the stuff, man. So I haven't really touched or explored Azure or GCP or yeah. Maybe in my free time I can probably explore Azure. You know. Shubham says, how can you be an expert on that? Expert on what? Azure or oh, any resource? Well, the way I do is like I always do like a hello world, Shubham. So for example, let's say like talking about Apache Hudi, right? Like couple of years back, I did not know anything about Hudi. Right now, I know a little bit more about than what I used to, right? So the way I started is okay, go to their official website, read a little bit about that, right? In general, right? And then join like Slack or there must be definitely a community, right? So join the community, ask questions there, do basic hello world, read more articles, read more blog on that, and I guess that's the best way to learn, right? Also, there are a lot of resources on YouTube as well. You can go to YouTube. There are a lot of courses on Coursera, edX. You can take all these free online courses. If you want to pay, you can go for Udemy or LinkedIn Learning. And I guess there's so much learning material available these days. I don't think we need to pay money for anything. Everything is available on the internet today, these days for free. You can use ChatGPT, ask questions to ChatGPT, and probably learn a lot more, right? Like, hey, what is this? What is that? And I use it all the time, ChatGPT, for learning and exploring. So any blog or any some complicated terms, if I don't know, I say, hey, what does that mean? Explain me this in a simple language, right? And it does a pretty good job of it, right? So using AI to like learn and stuff, that's something have been working for me. So these are some of the suggestions I could possibly offer you. Shubham says, thanks, I'll follow your suggestion. Yeah, great. And another best way to learn is to teach. So when you learn something, let's say whatever that is, try to write a blog, try to publish it on some Medium or LinkedIn, right? That way, two things happen, right? Of course, you will learn the thing much more better because in order to teach someone or in order to write something, you have to learn it yourself. So that way, you're gonna get better and better. Second, people are gonna probably notice you. Yeah, this guy has been posting stuff, right? So it's good for your career as well, right? So both thing, right? So when you learn, try to post that learning on the internet. That's something I would like to give you an advice. Any other questions that you guys have? Happy to discuss. I guess I'll take a couple of more questions, and then we'll be done for the today's Q&A. I'll try my best to do this probably next week again, if possible, if I get some free time. But if you have any other questions, please go ahead and use the chat window. Shubham says, if you don't mind, can you explain how to how to model many to many relationship? Sure. Please explain with an example. So I do have one video, Shubham, where I did it. I mean, I'm assuming I'm not sure you're asking in terms of NoSQL, but let me see. I have a video. Many to Let me see. I got it. Let me send you this resource. So this one, right? So I sent you a link, Shubham. I did a video in the past. So that shows how to model one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. So this is gonna definitely help you, man. So definitely check that video out. And if you still have questions, I'm happy to connect with you and maybe explain you in person if possible, right? Over a Google Meet or something for 5 or 10 minutes. Happy to connect as well. But first, try to watch that video, and if you still have questions, I'll be happy to connect to you over Google Meet or whatever medium you would like to prefer. Any other questions that you guys may have, please go ahead and ask your questions. I'll be taking a couple of more questions, about 2 to 3 questions more, and then we will wrap up today's session. Okay. All right. But yeah, great talking to everybody, whoever joined. So I really enjoyed answering your questions. I guess Shubham, Karthik, and Pradeep, thank you all for joining in today on the live Q&A, Yeah, no problem, man. No problem, Shubham. All right, I'll try to take 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'll end the today's live Q&A. And probably the next one that I'll try to do would be next week. Not sure, but I'll try to do it next week, as I would say. So yeah, 1 or 2 more questions, and then we are done for the day. Any other questions that you guys may have, please go ahead, use the chat window, and ask your questions. Happy to talk and answer them. So I'm going to take 2 more questions for the day, and then we will wrap up today's Q&A. All right, we'll take 1 or 2 more questions if you guys may have. I'll stay around for 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, I'll probably answer them. You may use the chat window and post your question in the chats, and I'll try to read and answer them in the live video. So yeah. If you have any questions, please use the chat window. I'm there for 5 more minutes, so please use the opportunity and ask your questions if you have any. Oh, I see my old friend here, Yashwant Reddy. Hey, good to see you, man. Seeing you after a long time. Let's see what your question is. Recently, I made a proposal to use Apache Hudi for data warehouse based on your video. That's fantastic, Yashwant. I'm glad, man, and good to see you on my channel. I know you are on my channel from a pretty long time, so always great to see you, Yashwant here. That's great, Yashwant. That's really great. I'm glad my videos did help you out on that. So the main thing that I tell like people like why not to go for data warehouse versus the data lake house. One big thing is the cost, right? Data lakes separate the compute and storage, right? So your storage is probably on S3, so you pay literally cents for gigabytes and petabytes, and you are also separating the compute, right? So now you can compute your compute can be you can consume the data using Presto, Trino, Athena, Redshift Spectrum, Spark SQL. In a typical warehouse, all your data would live on that particular instance or the shared node, right? So the storage and the compute cost would basically go up. So it's good to separate those two components, right? So again, and again, there are a lot other benefits that comes with data lakehouse, right? Incremental ETL and index lookups and a lot more, right? So it basically gives you much more finer control over your particular data. Yashwant says my company also approved it, and the next step is to implement it. That's fantastic, man. Fantastic. So happy to so happy to hear that, man. Hey, Yashwant, if you don't mind, can I use your particular comment for my LinkedIn post that your proposal was accepted for Apache Hudi, and now you're gonna probably go ahead and you do it. If I have your permission, if you type the word yes, I would love to basically use your particular comment on a social media post. Is that okay? Please let me know yes or no if you are on the live chat. And meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, let me know. That's great, man. Great. That's great. Fantastic. Any other questions that you guys may have, please use the chat window and post them in the comment. Yeshwan says bad network here. All right, looks like maybe the internet is a little weak. All right, any other questions that I can answer for the day? Always happy to talk about it. Please use the chat window. I'm probably there for 5 more minutes, so 10:30 the US time, right? I'll be done by 10:30. So if you have any questions, use the chat window, and I'll try to answer one or two more questions, and then we will wrap up for the day. All right. Any other questions that you guys may have? Please use the chat window and post your questions in the chat, so I can read and answer them. Yeah. Yashwan says, oh, Shubham says, where do you currently live? I live in Stamford, man. It's in a state called Connecticut. The city is Stamford. That's where I live right now. Any other questions that you guys may have, please use the chat window. I'll take one more question for the day, I guess. One more questions, and then probably wrap up the session pretty soon. Yeah, a current location is Stamford. Yes, Stamford is the city, and the state is Connecticut. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take one last question if you guys have any. Or if not, then we'll probably wrap up today's Q&A. So just waiting for one last question. If you guys may have, use the chat window and post your question in the chat, and I'll answer that shortly. All right, any other questions that you guys may have, please use the chat window. Then we're gonna wrap up the today's Q&A, and the next one would be probably on next week or maybe next month, probably. Let's see, depending upon the time. All right, I guess we are pretty much done for the day. We are almost close to 10:30, so we'll wrap up today's Q&A. Thank you everybody who joined today, and I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Thank you, Karthik. Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you, Yashwant Reddy. And thank you all other people who took out the time. Thank you, Moo Layer. And thank you everybody who took out the time to basically join here today, the live Q&A. And I'm hoping to see you guys soon in the next upcoming video. So thank you everybody for your time. And if in case I haven't answered some of your questions at the end, probably, please feel free to write me an email, and I'll be more than happy to connect with you and talk further about that. If you have any particular request on videos, also you can send that on the comment window, or through an email at shasomil519@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.